What's crack-a-lackin' peeps? This video is a little bit different from what I typically do on my channel, but I thought I would take the time in order to do it. It's a combination of a product review as well as a speculative project video. And what I mean by that will come to focus as I start to explain. Way back in the year of 2006, this was about the time before the new Star Wars film at the time, which was Revenge of the Sith, was coming out. I wanted to make myself a lightsaber. This is not actually my first. My first lightsaber was put together from various parts that were salvaged with the help from my father, who is a machinist by trade, who has taught me just about everything I know. And as the years went on afterward, sadly that saber fell apart, and one of the more crucial parts, especially the blade, which was made out of a high tensile strength polycarbonate that I have never been able to find anywhere else, sadly disappeared. We come to the summer of 2015, and for once I am hotly anticipating a new Star Wars film. After the bad taste that was left in my mouth from Revenge of the Sith, I wanted to dress up as the new antagonist, Kylo Ren. So I started to shop around in order to see if I could find a suitable crossguard saber. Because time was not on my side, and given my new work schedule, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to build my own. So I settled on a company, and their Flamberge, as they call it, and placed my order. 3 days after my initial order, I stumble upon a rather infamous list of reasons why you should never buy from them. And as I fell down that rabbit hole of forum posts, first-hand accounts, videos that weren't taken down due to some sort of DMCA pressure, the buyer's remorse had gripped firmly in me well before the box hit my door. When I actually pulled it out of the box, part of me made peace with the fact that I had just bought it, but the other half of me, which was the maker side, started to look over this rather clunky and in some cases ineffectual design and systematically go over every part which really doesn't need to be set up the way that it is. For one thing, these obsessive number of set screws that line this tension fit collar, which shouldn't even be a tension fit to begin with, the emitters, which number 9 in all, the number of screws that you have to keep track of, that you cannot lose because of how much of a pain it is to get new ones, let alone having to have the right Allen key in order to be able to get the blades in and out. And the reason why that there were so many to begin with came into sharp focus when I actually put the blades in. These emitters were not machined with 1-inch blades in mind, or the way that they were machined left enough of a clearance to be able to do this. Something that is supposed to be stationary should not have to have a tension fit like this, because if you look very carefully, you might be able to notice the teeth marks that have slowly but surely started to dig deeper and deeper into the plastic. And this is a thin-walled blade. The amount of practice and usage that this has gotten, I'm surprised that the blades haven't snapped clean off or just cracked. Going back to the tension fit again, this isn't even a screwed-on part per se. You may notice that this ring that is a part of the saber is off. This is what initially had me take this thing apart as best I could in order to figure out how it worked, especially since I didn't want to have to send it back to the maker and either wait a excruciating long time in order to get it fixed when I could just do it myself, or somehow be told that my warranty was voided for some incredibly stupid reason. This is supposed to be a stabilizing collar that you put and screw in here. And this is a tension fit around a metal ring that this is supposed to screw up with this band up against. Having it come loose was what had me take this apart, like I mentioned before. And when I took a look on the inside, again, it smacked me clean in the face why this is so shoddy. You can see that the wires are loose in there, and that for one thing I've had to tape and heat shrink them back together because the shielding on the given wires were actually getting worn down. The blade goes down into the body here of the Saber, down against the LED heatsink, which is down there at the bottom. But the way that the wires had been adhered on the inside is they had been hot glued to the sides of the inside of the Saber and were held in place by Gorilla Tape, which was already wearing down. So if this had violently jostled in any direction at the time, it probably would have sheared off the wires completely. As time went on, I started to further kind of check out my expenditure, and it became evidently clear that this was a waste of money. I mean, the soundboard isn't even properly protected in any way, requires proprietary software and a very archaic USB cable in order to even change the sound font, and you even have to have the batteries in it in order to be able to gain access, where the Nano Biscotti, you can just use an adapter for the SD card, throw it in your computer, and within maybe 2 minutes of, work, you can have 2 new sound fonts, where this one is only designed for 1. And it's just a train wreck on the inside here of wires. The wires meeting up to, for instance, the switch on the inside are caught up on this giant glob of hot glue that is holding the switch in place. And the more and more that I talk about this, the more frustrating it gets, because from a maker standpoint, you do not sell shoddy work like this, especially when the price tag was the better part of $400. I spent maybe half that in crafting the Saber for the short that I did from within for the Jedi Captive. And even then, I can say with confidence that the stuff that goes into that is not only more reliable, but far more safe in general as a setup. There's one good thing that I can say about the Saber that I like, oddly enough, is the line work. Like on the emitters, the crossguard section, the handle. But a surface detail does not do anything to cover up shoddy workmanship. And having the word ultra in your title of your business certainly in no way reflects the quality in this instance. My intention at this point with this Saber is I am going to make it a single blade, but still allow it to have this crossguard section on it. So if I wanted to continue using it in that fashion, say for any kind of stunt work or continuing thematic piece with the same character, then I have that readily available to me. I'm more than likely going to be using a Nano Biscotti version 3, which I have readily on hand. I'm going to see about salvaging the LEDs as well as the heat sinks if I can actually take them down on a mill, or maybe just use them as is. But this is pretty much going to be a salvage project at this point. In the meantime, though, I just thought I would give my opinion on this particular product and give a heads up on what will likely be revealed in a singular video, or maybe more than one, depending on if I make progress videos over the course of the project. Until then, peace.